The Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, has died aged 76.
Breaking news, Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary heavy metal singer known as the Prince of Darkness, has died at the age of 76.
The godfather of heavy metal and Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, has passed away at the age of 76.
He bit the head off a bat on stage. He once sat in a prison cell, dreaming of Beatles songs. He nearly died from addiction, multiple times. But somehow, Ozzy Osbourne didn't just survive, he became a living myth. In July 2025, the world lost its Prince of Darkness at 76. But Ozzy wasn't just metal's godfather or a madman. He was a man who fell hard, loved harder, and kept rising. Thanks to a woman who saved him, a band that broke boundaries, and a voice that could shake stadiums. From his gritty Birmingham roots to Grammy win. From family feuds to global fame. From tragic relapses to a farewell that left fans in tears. Ozzy's life was chaos, redemption, and legend, all in one. In this video, we uncover 10 jaw-dropping truths about the man behind the madness. Smash that like button, comment your wildest Ozzy memory, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of music's most electrifying icons. Number 1. From prison cell to Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne was born John Michael Osborne in gritty post-war Birmingham, England in 1948. His early life was anything but glamorous. He dropped out of school at 15, bounced between odd jobs, including working in a slaughterhouse, and even served time in prison for burglary. But everything changed when he heard the Beatles' "She Loves You." That single moment lit a fire in him to become a musician. In 1968, he co-founded the band that would forever change rock history, Black Sabbath. They fused blues and doom into a sound that would later be called heavy metal. Ozzy didn't just chase fame, he created a genre. His raw vocals and eerie stage presence gave fans chills and critics nightmares. Who would have guessed that the troubled boy from Birmingham would become a global icon, selling over 100 million records? Ozzy's rise is proof that even the darkest origins can birth the brightest stars. Number 2. The birth of heavy metal and a monster legacy. When Black Sabbath dropped their self-titled debut album in 1970, they unleashed something the world had never heard. Haunting riffs, tritone chords, and lyrics steeped in fear, religion, and rebellion. Their second album, Paranoid, released just months later, was a cultural earthquake. With tracks like War Pigs, Iron Man, and the title song Paranoid, Ozzy's vocals became the anthem of a disillusioned generation. Critics panned it, but fans made it legendary. It hit number 1 in the UK and later went multi-platinum in the US. Ozzy's eerie voice and Sabbath's apocalyptic sound earned him the title Godfather of Heavy Metal, a genre that would birth Metallica, Iron Maiden, and Slayer. From Birmingham to Buenos Aires, Moscow to Melbourne, his voice echoed in stadiums across continents. Ozzy wasn't just a singer, he was a symbol. If you've ever headbanged to metal, you owe a nod to him. So write Prince of Darkness in the comment section below and hit that like button to honor the roots of rock. Number 3. The Bat, the Blood, and the Myth. January 20th, 1982. Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa. Ozzy Osbourne stares into the crowd and bites the head off a bat. It wasn't planned. Fans tossed the bat on stage, and Ozzy, thinking it was rubber, took a bite. It was real, the crowd gasped. The myth was born. The moment would haunt and define him forever. What do bats taste like, Ozzy? He was asked for decades. His answer? Like my mother-in-law's cooking? The incident sparked global outrage. Parents, pastors, and politicians labeled him satanic. But fans, they couldn't get enough. That moment cemented Ozzy's place in rock history, not just as a performer, but as a provocateur. It wasn't just shock value, it was rebellion in its rawest form. Comment below. Would you have gone to an Ozzy show after that stunt? The bat incident wasn't just a headline, it was a warning. rock was no longer safe. It was wild, and Ozzy was its unholy king. Number 4. Drugs, divorce, and dancing with death. Ozzy didn't flirt with death, he partied with it. His substance abuse was notorious, even in a decade known for excess. By the late 70s, he was snorting ants, blacking out for days, and taking enough drugs to kill a rhino. His first marriage to Thelma Mayfair collapsed under the weight of his addictions. In 1979, Sabbath finally had enough and fired him, despite 8 successful albums together. But Ozzy didn't fade away. With Sharon, who became his second wife and savior, he launched a solo career with Blizzard of Oz. Hits like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley kept him in the spotlight and on the edge. In his 2011 documentary, he admitted, "I should have died 1,000 times." But somehow, he didn't. Every overdose, every arrest, every blackout added another chapter to the legend. He didn't just survive the abyss, he made it his stage. Number 5. Sharon saved Ozzy from death, then took over his empire. Sharon Osbourne wasn't just Ozzy's wife, she was his lifeline. They met through her father, Don Arden, Ozzy's then manager. When Sharon took over Ozzy's career after his firing from Sabbath, she didn't just manage him, she rescued him. They married in 1982, the same year she pulled him off her father's label and signed him to CBS, sparking a lawsuit that split her family for decades. Behind the scenes, their life was chaos, substance abuse, fights, even violence. Sharon later admitted to fearing for her life during his darkest moments, but she stood by him, helping Ozzy climb out of addiction time and again. Together, they transformed not just his career, but their family legacy. Sharon became a media icon, Jack and Kelly found fame, and the Osbournes became a brand. Talk about ride or die. Without Sharon, there would be no Ozzy. She didn't just love the Prince of Darkness, she ruled beside him. Number 6. The Osbournes, the primetime chaos that turned a rock god into America's dad. In 2002, Ozzy's family gave the world its first taste of reality TV chaos with the Osbournes. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't sanitized. It was Ozzy mumbling through daily life, Sharon handling business with savage grace, and Jack and Kelly bickering like real teens. The show exploded in popularity, winning a primetime Emmy and topping MTV ratings. It shattered the myth of rock stars as untouchable gods. Instead, we saw Ozzy yelling at broken remotes, swearing at dogs, and quietly fighting addiction, all while navigating fatherhood and fame. The show didn't just entertain, it redefined celebrity culture. Long before the Kardashians, the Osbournes proved dysfunction sells, especially when it's authentic. Drop a comment if you watched it live, and tell us your favorite Osbourne moment. Reality TV owes its crown to Ozzy's family. The bat-biting rock god was suddenly America's favorite dad? Only Ozzy could pull that off. Number 7. Grammys, Globes, and godlike status. Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just notorious, he was acclaimed. Over his career, he won multiple Grammy Awards, including Best Metal Performance for God Is Dead. In 2014 and in 2023, 2 more Grammys for Best Rock Album and Best Rock Performance. Whether with Black Sabbath or solo, his work has influenced legends like Metallica, Foo Fighters, Slipknot, and countless others. In 2006, he and Black Sabbath were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2024, Ozzy received his solo induction, solidifying his legacy as a dual icon. The Hall described him as a phenomenon unlike any other in rock music. His records sold over 100 million copies worldwide. His face, voice, and persona became global symbols of rebellion. From Tokyo to Toronto, Ozzy was a household name. Even if you didn't listen to metal, he was culture. Smash that subscribe button if Ozzy's music ever shook your soul. Number 8. Health battles and the pain behind the persona. Behind the eyeliner and leather was a man fighting to stay upright. In 2019, Ozzy suffered a serious fall at home, triggering a cascade of health issues. Multiple surgeries followed. Some failed, leaving him nearly crippled. Then came the bombshell. In 2020, he announced he had Parkinson's disease. His final years were defined by determination. He kept performing when he could, including at the 2022 Commonwealth Games and other surprise appearances. But by 2023, Ozzy admitted he was no longer physically capable of touring. Still, he dreamed of doing one last show. "If I drop down dead at the end of it, I'll die a happy man," he told Rolling Stone. His body betrayed him, but his soul never did. Every step hurt. Every word cost him. But Ozzy kept going for his fans. True metal isn't loud, it's resilient. And Ozzy embodied that to the end. Number 9. Final curtain call, back to the beginning. On July 5th, 2025, Ozzy took the stage for the last time in his hometown of Birmingham. It was a historic reunion. Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward joined him for Back to the Beginning, their first full performance in over 20 years. It wasn't just a concert, it was closure. Tens of thousands watched as 4 kids from Aston, now legends, closed the book on heavy metal's origin story. Ozzy called it his final bow, and it was. Less than 3 weeks later, he was gone. Tributes poured in. "There will never be another like him," said Iommi. Butler called him a dear friend. Ward said he'd search for Ozzy in memories, missed calls, and silence. It wasn't just a gig. It was a goodbye written in power chords and pyro. That night, the Prince of Darkness returned to the light, surrounded by love, music, and home. Number 10. Death of a God, Birth of a Legend. On July 23, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne died at 76, surrounded by family. The cause of death was not publicly disclosed, but the legacy he left behind? Unmistakable. He was a pioneer, a provocateur, a parent, and a poet in the loudest sense. He leaves behind 6 children, his wife Sharon, millions of fans, and a world shaped by his sound. Ozzy didn't just live. He stormed through life like a hurricane, tearing down what was safe and building something honest, loud, and immortal. He said he'd be happy dying after one last show. He got it. Legends don't die. They just drop the mic. Tell us in the comments, what did Ozzy mean to you? And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more stories that echo long after the final chord. Because rock history isn't just written, it's lived. Ozzy Osbourne didn't just make music, he made mythology. He was chaos wrapped in charisma, pain masked with eyeliner, and poetry screamed through distortion. From the haunted alleys of Birmingham to sold-out arenas across the globe, Ozzy taught us that greatness isn't born. It's forged in fire, failure, and the fight to rise again. He bit bats, dodged death, danced with demons, and somehow still had time to raise a family, win Grammys, and redefine rock. Even in his final years, broken in body but blazing in spirit, he never stopped wanting to say thank you to his fans. And now, it's our turn. Drop your favorite Ozzy memory below. Whether it was a lyric, a concert, or just that moment he made you feel invincible. Hit that like button if his music ever roared through your speakers. And subscribe to this channel to keep the spirit of rock alive, one legend at a time. Because Ozzy Osbourne may be gone, but the Prince of Darkness will never fade into the night.